Hello and welcome to the Treehouse Chat, your weekly, informative, highly researched, highly educational, highly thoughtful, and hopefully joyous experience in podcast form. We want to take a moment to thank Swanson & Johnson Incorporated for sponsoring today's chat.
Swanson & Johnson.
Swanson & Johnson.
For your needs.
For all your home improvement needs. Now, let's chat. My name's Connor. Today I'm coming to you with our word of the day, nonchalant. And that was our random word generated last week in our chat about the word envelope. Now today we've got some bright minds in the room. Like I said, my name's Connor. I am a culinary student studying music and production of the sort.
What's up, guys? My name's Kevin. I'm currently studying marketing.
My name is Trenton, otherwise known as TShrades, and I'm studying microbiology.
I'm Joseph, and I'm majoring in English and philosophy.
And we have a guest mind today in the treehouse. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Tak, мене звати Марічка, і я вчу бізнес.
Say what?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my name is Marichka, and I'm studying business and communications.
Well,
Communications in Ukraine.
All right, well, guys, today the word nonchalant. You got some good ideas on the table?
I think we got some real casual and uncaring ideas on the table.
I think so. Joe, you want to kick us off for this episode? You ready to go?
I suppose so, yeah,
All right.
indeed. So, obviously, nonchalant. I was thinking when people make a mistake and just recover and, very nonchalantly.
Super casually.
Yeah. So that's
Go
kinda
into
where
a
I took it.
Tebow or something.
So accidents is kind of what I was thinking.
Okay.
Just good accidents and inventions and discoveries that
Oh,
happen.
sticky notes.
Happy
That is
mistakes.
one.
Yeah?
I didn't think that was interesting enough. I figured a lot of people would know.
Yeah, everybody knows the
So,
sticky
yeah,
note one.
yeah.
That's a good one.
But so to begin, microwaves. Now this is just kind of ridiculous. Percy Spencer, he was an engineer for World War I in the Navy, and he was an electronics genius. So in 1945, he was fiddling with microwave-emitting magnetron, a microwave-emitting magnetron-used radar. Yeah. Well, so he was doing all this stuff, and he noticed a tingly sensation in his pants. So he
was
reaches in there.
He's like, I'm on a breakthrough.
Well, he had a chocolate bar in his pants that had melted.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That was the tingling feeling.
So he was like,
Sure.
okay. And he messed with it, and then made...
That was also him losing sperm count, probably.
Oh, yeah. See,
He was microwaving his balls.
That's my point. That's how we have the microwave. But this guy, fried something that close to his body.
Oh, God.
And then, we use microwaves to cook meat and flesh. He was standing there
We use
cooking
microwaves to
himself.
boil water.
That guy was standing there cooking himself. And he just goes, I've got a great idea. And I did just microwaves. I don't know.
So
That's
was he like
fantastic.
tanner afterwards, or was there any visible burns or anything?
I mean,
No, I'm pretty sure
I
it's
don't-
all just like...
that's-
Yeah,
invisible
it
waves.
comes out like a toasty brown.
I just think he was
With
about-
a chocolate
Good
bar.
No.
inside.
Just think he was a few thousand sperm less, and other than that, a rich man.
yeah. All right. The next, saccharin.
Saccharin?
Saccharin,
Okay.
which is an artificial sweetener.
Yeah.
So, Ira Remsen and Konstantin Fallberg work at a laboratory at Johns Hopkins University, and they paused to eat. And I believe they were chemists and working with all kinds of chemicals, obviously. And they decided they just neglected to wash their hands, right? Which, often people end up dead.
That's a bold move, yeah.
Well, so this dude was eating his food and was like, it's kind of sweet. And then started making sweetener and putting in food.
What?
Yep.
Because he was eating something sugary or something and got on his hands?
They were making chemicals, doing something. Some got on his hands.
Oh,
He
in the
didn't wash
lab.
his hands. Yeah. So whatever they were
That is
messing with in
such
the
bad
lab-
practice.
Oh, I know. He tasted it. It was like, huh.
I love it.
Exactly.
Let's put it on everything.
So,
what were the chemicals? Did you say?
I'm not
Saccharin?
sure. Well, saccharin is the artificial sweetener,
Okay.
and I'm sure they tampered with it a little bit, but I didn't find the actual
That's okay.
chemicals they were using. But
That's
yeah.
interesting.
That's so wild.
Kind of sloppy practice
And
to be
it-
known for, though. That's your, like...
Right?
That's your...
He's famous
but-
for.
I'm famous for not washing my hands straight
Yeah,
out the
famous
lab.
Unsanitary guy, right? Yep, that's.
So the saccharin and the microwave both just seem like terrible ideas for food. I mean, right from the
Accidents.
start.
Yeah.
But people are like, I could probably make a lot of money off
Yeah, hey, they
Here
don't
we
make you
go.
fat, they just kill you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now the next one, Play-Doh.
Oh.
Yes.
I love Play-Doh.
Something you should not eat.
Tastes
Well,
salty,
so-
I'll tell you what.
But it really makes you want to.
Play-Doh was made in about 450 BC. A man and a woman got together.
400...
made Play-Doh?
I'm kidding.
I
I'm
get it.
kidding.
Joe.
Oh.
Get it?
Standard.
Good one.
Some philosophy humor.
Yeah, there you go. No, Play-Doh, the fun doughy stuff.
The toy.
It was a paste to help treat filthy wallpaper.
Oh.
Yeah.
Does it work?
I mean,
You know?
Well,
I don't
can't
know
you...
if they
That's
still.
what it was made
I don't
for.
believe they make that whatever that was.
not the same model. Not the
Yeah,
same model.
they had a product that was a paste treated for filthy wallpaper. The company was about to go bankrupt. Like, nobody cared about them.
Give it to the children.
And they noticed school children started making Christmas ornaments out of that wallpaper stuff. So they
Obviously
just
safe.
took some of the bad chemicals out, colored it, put a fresh scent to it,
Oh.
called it Play-Doh, and turned into just $1 billion industry.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
The
These
best
kids were
was-
playing with poisonous wall
For a while, yeah.
wall paste.
You know what reminds me of the happy accidents? Alexander Fleming and penicillin. Have you heard of that one?
That's the next one on here.
Oh.
Penicillin. So, let's see. Yeah, they were making, let's see.
He just left dirty
Yeah.
trays out because he didn't clean up and it started.
Yeah, dirty dishes, and it started to mold. And this mold just killed all the bacteria around.
No, the bacteria just wouldn't go near it.
Or yeah, it wouldn't go near.
Whoa.
That's what
And
repelled
that's
it.
how penicillin...
Yeah, just because he was
Yeah.
lazy and didn't wash
So he
his
just took
stuff.
it from this.
Damn.
It sounds
And
like
he
these...
saved
this
so
funky
many
fungus.
people. He actually
Yeah.
helped
So
the war
why
effort during that
Do
time.
chemists clean their stuff? If it seems like all the good stuff comes
Yeah.
from bad practice.
It sounds like the major
I think
breakthroughs are...
that's what experiments are for, right?
Yeah.
You kind of experiment with that, but you don't make it a regular practice.
I got one going on in my kitchen right
Yeah.
now. Yeah. It's called dirty dishes.
Yeah.
It's an experimental phase.
Okay, now radioactivity, the discovery of that. This is pretty cool. This guy was working with uranium enriched crystal, and he thought the sun was the reason why it would, burn its image on a photographic plate.
What? Which is a sign of radioactivity? That's
Yeah.
okay.
And he thought the sun was the cause of that. And so, while he was doing his studies, a bunch of storm clouds rolled in. So he packed his stuff up, went home.
Because there's no
and-
sun.
Yeah, so he's waiting for the next sunny day. Well, then, when he was starting to go out again, and he took the stuff back out of the drawer, the image was still burned into the photographic plate. And so he was like,
Somebody snuck
Yeah.
some sun into my house.
exactly. So yeah, that's how he discovered radioactivity.
Interesting.
Now, Vaseline. You guys heard this one?
Oh yeah, it's like lip balm.
Well, but have you heard how they found it?
No.
Okay, yeah. So this guy, Robert Cheesebro.
No.
Chasborough.
There's only one E, so it may not be cheese.
Chesborough.
I think it's
Okay,
cheese,
but
bro.
it's
Shebro.
also
Cheese,
BR, not BOR, just BR.
Shesbro.
Shesbro.
Yeah,
think?
something like that.
Anyhow, he was trying to find oil, and in 1859, his workers were complaining about this thick wax that was gumming up all the equipment. And then the guy somehow discovered that it helps with cuts and burns too. And so that's
I'm rubbing it on my cut.
Wait,
Okay, hold on.
how did he somehow discover that?
Don't do that, Steve. I'm doing it.
But
Don't put that in your cut, Steve.
well, the worst part, he was known to eat a spoonful of it every day.
Oh,
Vaseline.
Okay, I don't think that's healthy.
it came out of the machines?
Out of the ground. Like, it was getting in the way of the machines trying to find oil.
And he's just eating it.
Okay, so he just finds the stuff. He's like, oh, no, it's fine. Just rub it on your wounds.
Yeah. Sir, we need
Eat
you
it.
to get this grease off the machines. Okay.
Just
start eating it. Free meal?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that's a pretty good one.
That is funny.
And let's see, there's a couple more. Okay, so in 1827, there was this pharmacist. He was stirring a pot of chemicals, including antimony sulfide and potassium chlorate. And then he noticed on the end of his mixing stick, there was just a dry lump of the stuff that he's mixing.
Mm-hmm.
So he tried scratching it off, and it burst into flames.
Oh.
And so now we have matches.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome.
He invented a strike anywhere right there. Just a
Oh, yeah.
massive match on the end of a big
See,
wooden stick.
I'm really curious if he's using his finger. Scratching off his fingernail, but it just...
That
You
would
could do it with
scare
your
the
tooth.
fuck
I
out
know
of me.
that. I've done a scratch
Oh, yeah.
anywhere or a strike anywhere with my tooth. You can just.
Yeah.
That would honestly scare the hell out of me.
Right?
If I was like, what's this weird lump? And I'm trying to like hit it off and
Oh, yeah, that'd be terrifying. And then in the 9th century, Chinese alchemists were trying to discover a recipe for immortality. So they mixed together saltpeter, sulfur, and charcoal, and found out the hard way they made gunpowder.
And they were trying to make a potion for immortality.
Yeah,
So
instead
that
is-
made the opposite.
they made death
The literal
everywhere.
opposite. Oh,
That
yeah.
is some
Yeah.
That's karma right there.
sick irony. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
that's
you
something
go.
that's not. Don't mess with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I think there's one more. Okay. Anesthesia.
Yeah.
In the 1800s, people would get together and just kind of use a mixture of things like ether and nitrous oxide and just have what they called ether frolics, which is pretty awesome.
Well, it's just like basically they're using them as drugs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or laughing parties.
Oh.
And then...
You want to get together and laugh tonight? Let's do
Hell
it. Let's
yeah.
do a frolic,
Oh,
brother.
yeah.
Let's frolic.
Ether frolics. And then Horace Wells and Charles Jackson, I think, are commonly cited as being the ones who kind of discovered that works as an anesthetic. And then, yeah. I'm not sure if it's that mixture that is anesthesia.
Yeah, but that's the original.
But
like,
yeah, that's how they...
that's interesting. A lot of medical breakthroughs were happy accidents.
Yeah.
You know, people are just kind of like, that is in no way what I ever thought was going to happen, but I'm rolling with it and I'm getting rich.
Yep.
That's how a lot of these are. Let's do it to food.
Yeah, which is, I think, the worst. I think that's where you shouldn't...
Because you all use a microwave, right? You only use a toaster oven?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll use
his mom
one if
doesn't
I
one.
have to, but yeah, we don't have one. So we don't use one.
I use the microwave so many times a day.
I do too.
If we ever find out that that's bad for you, I'll be fucked.
Well, it kills the nutritional value of a lot of stuff.
Oh, is that why you guys don't use one?
I don't know. I think a lot of it's the mom doesn't like the radiation. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't doubt that that might be some bad for you in some way
sure.
we don't know about.
I bet cancer increased since we made the microwaves.
I bet.
Wait,
So
don't we
many
treat
things have increased
don't we
cancer.
treat cancer with like radiation sometimes?
Different kind.
Well,
Yeah?
Yeah, it's a
different
Fight
different
fire with more fire.
Yeah, it's a different kind. Like it attacks certain.
Find out the
Yeah.
fire is lava the whole time.
But yeah, like X-rays aren't good because
Yeah.
I believe they can cause cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
certain kinds of radiation.
Interesting.
My
So
mom-
the best science is just accidents.
Yeah.
It's just bad practice.
Yeah. Speaking of X-rays, that was actually one of these.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think there was a funny story behind X-rays too, but I thought I was maybe getting it mixed up with the microwaves one.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the guy, when he did discover it, the first thing he did was photograph his wife's hand with an X-ray.
Oh.
And I think he was taking a picture of, I don't know, he was taking a picture and he just noticed things behind what he was taking a picture of.
Whoa.
So that's how he noticed. Like, wait a second.
He's like, do I
Light's
have X-ray
traveling
vision?
through it. You know. So, yeah.
Interesting. That's cool. A lot of stuff used for our bodies and for food.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
But
nice.
yeah, those were the most interesting accidental, nonchalant.
I really like. I
discoveries.
think my favorite was Play-Doh. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. that's
Play-Doh's
a
the
good one.
best.
Okay. Apparently, it's good to throw on walls. Did you ever get in trouble for throwing it on the walls?
Play-Doh?
Yeah.
No.
No, I'd usually play with
I've
it
never
and try to
done-
make like.
Yeah.
Why would that be bad?
Does it? You just
Well,
huck
I
it
mean,
and it
was
sticks?
originally made for that.
Yeah.
But-
Well, it was made to clean
I
them,
don't know.
right?
I feel like I got in trouble for having it all over the walls.
Oh.
But I did get in a lot of trouble for throwing gum all over the walls once. So I might be getting it mixed up.
Well, I know
But-
silly putty you can like put on newspapers and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe it's kind of the same thing where with Play-Doh it kind of just like sticks
See, that's what I was
sticks
thinking.
to the dust, or maybe has like an electrostatic type thing.
I do still have a stain in my carpet from silly putty. Because
Yeah.
my brother and I smashed it. I mean,
Silly putty will do that,
as
man.
deep into the carpet as you could go, and that, yeah.
I dropped a wad of silly putty into my gerbil's fur one time, and it just
Oh,
got
no.
stuck. We had to
Oh,
cut it out, and he
man.
had a little bald spot.
That's
Oh.
terrible.
It's sad.
Poor guy.
I know. All right. Well,
All
nice.
right.
Happy
Yeah.
accidents.
Oh. Yeah. Well, TShrades, what do
Yeah.
you got for us?
Well, I have a story about a very nonchalant, casual, kind of living in the moment, free teenager that we can all relate to. Her name was Julianne.
Julianne Roberts.
Julianne, no. But-
Julianne, no.
But I'm
That's
sure
interesting.
Julianne Roberts was a very casual, nonchalant teenager. Or Julia Roberts, I think we're thinking of. So
Yeah.
Julianne...
I was thinking something wrong with that.
Julianne, her last name was Koipek, I think. She was born in Lima, Peru. So that's why I can't say that. 1954. The daughter of biologist Hans Wilhelm Koipek and ornithologist Maria then Koipek, you know. And an ornithologist is like basically bird zoology. So both of them into science, into the animals. Both of her parents were from Germany, and they moved to Peru after completing their graduate work in order to study neotropical wildlife. So as a kid, Koipek lived in Germany, and she was pretty affluent. It's because both of her parents were like hardcore scientists. So
So was she born in Peru and then moved to Germany?
yeah, with her parents. So after had just finishing high school, not 24 hours before she got her diploma, she got on a plane to go with her mother on the plane to go see her father. And this is on Christmas Eve, December 24th, 1971. During the flight, when the plane was around 10,000 feet high in the air, Julianne noticed the plane headed into a dark cloud. There was a very heavy turbulence, and this is in her own words. There was a very heavy turbulence, and the plane was just jumping up and down. Parcels and luggage were falling from the locker. And at that point, the commercial airliner was struck by lightning. So she wasn't quite so nonchalant at that point. She said her and her mother held hands in silence for nearly 10 minutes as all the passengers around them began to scream and weep.
Yeah.
After that 10 minutes, she said, I saw a very bright light on the outer engine on the left, and my mother looked at me and said very calmly, or nonchalantly, "This is the end. It's all over." Her mother says that
My
too.
mom just gave up hope
Yeah,
instantly.
Jesus.
Was
Yeah.
like,
I was like, come on. You couldn't tell your kid it's going to be okay, honey? Like, and then Julianne later said those were the last words I ever heard from her. The plane nosedived, and after a little while, Julianne was flung from the plane. She fell almost 2 miles, strapped into her seat the entire time, directly into the Amazon rainforest, and hit the ground.
That
Oh
kills
my
anyone. You can't fall 2
God.
miles and not die.
Yeah. Well, there's been a lot of, wondering on how she didn't die. But they say that maybe since she was in the chair the whole time, it maybe took a lot of the impact. But they don't, she honestly, people don't know. That should have killed her.
Well, how do they know it was 2 miles?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe they just calculated
Fall time?
where the plane started falling, where it fell,
Yeah.
where she was found, and
She was
you
like,
know,
I fell for about
Um,
5 seconds. I have
Or,
no
yeah,
idea how fast
if she
people fall.
If only Mythbusters was still a
She-
thing to prove it.
is it not a thing anymore?
I think they broke up.
I think the dude has a YouTube channel now.
I like that.
He builds
Something
Nerf
like
guns or something. I don't know.
Anyway,
So-
Middle Rainforest.
Collides with the Earth in the Amazon rainforest. She wakes up. She has a broken collarbone, a ruptured ligament in her knee, a pretty sizable gash on her right arm, and her right eye is swollen almost completely shut.
Okay, so she wasn't completely unharmed. By
No.
the fall.
Well, she fell 2 miles
Well,
on
that's
her.
what I'm saying. Yeah, I know she'd be hurt, but it's not like she's alive and somehow miraculously
got up and walked away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She got.
She brushed herself
pretty
off and was like,
wrecked.
"What a wild time."
Well, that was inconvenient.
I'm gonna
Try
enforce.
it again.
Yeah. I don't think I'll fly anymore. So she's in rough shape. This is a quote from her later. She said, "I was definitely strapped in when I fell. It must have turned and buffered the crash. Otherwise, I definitely wouldn't have survived." So the first thing she does when she gets up is she tries to find her mother. And she can't find her. She's not successful. And she really just tries to find any other survivor. And she can't. There's none. She was the only survivor of this crash. So it later turned out she found out her mother did survive the initial crash, but she was so badly injured she died shortly after the plane hit the ground. But she didn't know that.
How'd she find that out?
Well, yeah, I'm just...
later
Did she
on,
die
I
after
mean-
she was discovered?
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure eventually
can
the crime
tell.
scene,
Or did they get there and she was already dead, but they could tell she had died 10 minutes ago, but the plane
Oh,
crashed 2 hours ago?
I bet she died within the day. She probably just bled out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speculation.
Speculation upon speculation.
Yeah.
But all we know is the mother died.
Yeah.
Mother, not alive. So, she said, I got up, I was wearing a very short, sleeveless mini dress and white sandals in the Amazon rainforest. She said, I had lost one of them, but I kept the other sandal because I'm very short-sighted and I didn't have my glasses either. So I would walk around and use that shoe to test the ground ahead of me as I walked.
Smart.
So this is a 17-year-old girl who's in a miniskirt, alone in the Amazon rainforest, wandering around, tapping the ground in front of her with a sandal because she can't see. This is insane. I couldn't believe I was hearing this. And she survived.
Yeah, this
Who
is
found
crazy.
her?
Well, I'll tell you. But first, you're going to hear a lot more about how she wanders around, tapping the ground.
Okay,
with a
okay.
sandal. So she eventually makes her way. This is like if Velma lost her orange sweater and then lost her glasses and wasn't alone.
Damn.
In the Amazon rainforest.
Yeah. Without the gang, without the mystery team. So she eventually makes her way to a stash of candy.
What?
Yeah.
I'm not
That's
buying
the
it
only
anymore.
food. That's the only food she finds.
How'd
Is
you
a
find
stash
that?
of
Oh,
sweets.
from the wreckage?
Yeah, from the
Oh.
around the plane wreckage from a suitcase or something. So she made her way to a small stream nearby and began to just wade through into the stream. It was about knee-high the most of the time, and she remembered that her father had said that in survival situations, going downstream would always eventually lead to civilization. So her parents are pretty big nature-y people, and she did pick up a couple things from her dad, which ended up, saving her. I didn't understand why she had to get in the river.
Well, the float, she's got a ruptured ligament in her knee. She
That's
can't
true.
walk too
Just
far.
lay
Take the
down.
load off, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Not
Just
as much danger.
the Amazon rain. I guess I would
Ooh,
just
Well, the
walk.
river would
Oh,
be scary.
God.
Hold on, they got the
No,
piss
I
fish.
forgot she was in the Amazon
Yeah.
rainforest. I would not go in the
The,
water.
yeah,
No
the
way.
piss
I do
fish.
not wanna fuck with
absolutely
some
would not
piss
go in
fish,
the water.
man.
No.
They didn't know about them then, but so the listeners
Hell
know,
no.
there's a thing in the Amazon rain, the rivers and stuff that's been known that where if you pee, it can swim up your stream into your body
Follows the urine,
I've
yeah.
heard of that.
And it swims
against the
into your
current.
Urinary.
Right into your
Tract and then just-
urethra.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I mean, I just feel like I would walk next to it.
Yeah.
Just stay dry.
I'm not getting up. I'd make a raft.
Are there alligators in the river?
There's
Alright.
probably every awful thing you can imagine in that water.
Yeah.
True.
So she
Every-
traveled in this way through the river for days and days. And she said she wasn't very able to get very much sleep because she had a multitude of insect bites and they had become infected.
Oh, God.
At one point as she was traveling in the river, she said she turned around a bend and she came upon a bench with 3 passengers strapped in head first into the ground that had fallen from the wreckage.
Oh.
She was worried one of them might have been her mom, and she went up and poked at him with a stick, but she saw that the one had painted her toenails, the one girl, and she knew her mom didn't do that. So she walked on. And she was getting worried because her only food source was the supply of candy, which was dwindling. I would have scavenged that
I
plate.
would never be so disappointed about candy in my life.
I'd just be so disappointed with everything. The
Yeah,
whole
well, yeah.
situation.
So yeah, the whole situation seems kind of like a downer.
But
I
to
can't
be
believe this actually
your
happened.
only food to be candy, that just seems like you're getting mocked at that point.
Yeah, I would have scavenged
Okay, we'll
that
give you
plane
food.
crash.
Mm-hmm.
They have peanuts. I mean, don't they have peanuts?
For pretzels.
Maybe
Yeah.
some sodas for
Yeah.
some energy.
Yeah.
I don't know. But she made, I mean, obviously she made the right calls.
Yeah, apparently.
So, she kept traveling downstream several days, like Kevin said, she spent just floating. Just down, letting the current take her. Too tired to move.
With soggy candy in her pocket.
Yep, and then it ran out.
Parasites all around her.
She ate it all. No end in sight, just floating down an Amazon River. Her bag is gone. After 9 days traveling on the river, not really sleeping and living off nothing but candy, she found a small shelter with a boat in it, or at the dock. And she initially assumed she was hallucinating, but she went up and touched it, and it was real. So she went into the shelter and she saw some fuel for the boat lying there. And she again remembered something her father had done. This is a quote. She said, "I remember having seen my father when he cured a dog of worms in the jungle with gasoline." So she got some gasoline and poured it over a maggoty infested wound of hers. And she said she counted around 35 worms that slipped out of her arm.
Oh.
Oh,
Lord
no.
in heaven.
Yep.
Jeez, this girl's 17 and she's tough
She's
as
a
nails.
badass.
Holy
Oh, yeah.
hell.
Is that,
The
that's
origin
more
story
than...
for Laura Croft.
Yeah, that's more than
It
double her
sounds-
age in worms. That's like
Wow.
God, can you imagine?
for every
how-
year, every birthday you get 2 worms in your arm.
Imagine how much surface
great
area
word.
31 worms will cover in your
Oh.
body. Oh, okay, move on.
So,
And maggots on the outside.
well, those are the worms. Yeah,
Why
I
didn't she
call it.
eat those?
Wait, so her
Oh,
dad was
God,
still
she's
alive?
not. I don't think she's in that.
Yeah, her dad wasn't on the plane.
level yet.
Her mom was on the plane. Her dad was who they were visiting, so he's alive.
So it's his fault.
So she waits at the shack because she didn't want to steal the boat, and that I think is incredible. Like after 9 days with a maggoty arm, I would just take that boat in any
So
millisecond.
would I.
I would take that thing out of there and I would never look back. But a couple hours later, the lumbermen who used the shelter arrived, and when they found her, they tended to her injuries and bug infestations. The next morning, they took her on a 7-hour canoe ride, which was the only way to get down to the river and to the station in Terna Vista. So it was a total of an 11-day ordeal. And with the hope of a local pilot in Terna Vista, she was airlifted to a hospital, and her father was waiting there at the hospital.
Man, can you imagine being those wood guys. You find this girl, and so you're taking her on the river for 7 hours, and I mean, you gotta talk about something. I'm sure she's telling what happened,
Yeah.
and you're just like...
You're just
Oh
like, all
my
you took was a bag of
God.
candy? You could have scavenged for peanuts, you know? No. She said, I read in one thing she was talking about, was like, she had said that she was sure they thought that she was like a river goddess or something because she just looked unreal. Like, can you imagine at that point?
She's all dressed up still.
Yeah, she's in a little mini skirt dress, sleeveless, white sandals.
But
She's
looking
covered in like moss and
outdoors
blood and maggoty infestations, and her hair's soaked.
They're just like, what are...
They're just
I
like,
fell from the sky.
it's a witch. Yeah, they probably thought she was a witch. So she ended up moving back to Germany, where she fully recovered from her injuries. And like her parents, she went on to study biology. She received her doctorate from Ludwig Maximilian University and returned back to Peru, where she was born, to conduct research in mammalogy, specializing in bats.
Nice.
Yeah. So she got past it. I mean, it's not like she was like...
You think she ever went
ruined her life.
skydiving?
Yeah.
Friggin' bats.
She said
Very
it did...
nonchalant individual.
Yeah, she nonchalantly just survived an
Continued her
11-day...
life, like, yeah,
Did she write a book?
happened.
Yeah, she did. She did
What's
go...
her name? What was her name?
Julianne Kopecky. Koepcke. So Kopek.
Yeah, Kopecky sounds right.
Yeah, she did go on to write a book. She said she did live for... It does, like, haunt her to this day. She said she lives a lot of survivor's guilt, being the only survivor of the whole plane ride.
Yeah.
But, I mean, she went on. She was planning on studying biology before and after the crash. Like, she went through it. And she published her thesis in ecological study of a bat colony in a rainforest in Peru. So she went back to the rainforest.
Oh.
Full
There you
circle
go.
ending.
Full
Not
circle.
The Amazon rainforest. So.
There was two sort of filmy... One was a film, one was a documentary made about her. The one was a really low budget and heavily fictionalized film made about her in 1974. So, like, immediately after it happened, within, like, a couple, I think, 3 or 4 years. And it has some foreign name, but it's been called The Story of Julianne Kopecky.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not great about it. But 25 years later, Werner Herzog. You ever heard of Werner Herzog?
Name sounds
He
familiar.
did Grizzly Man. There was this guy, he loved grizzly bears a lot, and he went to live with them, and he was like filming it for his own sort of documentary, but Werner Herzog ended up taking over because the guy, he like found the dude's film. It's amazing. You guys should watch it. But anyway, so this guy's like big. He's famous. He made a documentary called Wings of Hope about her, and he said in there that he would have been on the exact same flight as her, but he had a last minute change of plans, and he took another one. Isn't that crazy?
Damn.
And he went on to make a documentary about her, who was the only survivor
Of the plane he was gonna be on.
of the plane that he and All Right should have died on.
Damn.
So I thought that was incredible. So I have mad respect for her.
Yeah. Oh, certainly.
She sounds like
I don't know if I.
that's
I'm
willpower.
Sure I would have died.
I'm sure
I
she.
got
I'm
lost
sure
in the
she
Amazon
accepted
jungle.
that she was gonna die.
Yeah, I bet that's probably how she survived.
I can't believe she just
She
kept
didn't
going.
lose hope.
She
but
didn't
she
panic.
just-
She didn't lose hope. She just accepted it, but still.
She
pushed on.
remained
Yeah,
casual.
but accepted.
Nonchalant.
I'm probably
Yeah,
gonna die.
exactly. She remained nonchalant, and like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy said, "Don't panic." And she made it. She kept it casual, and she survived.
That's the way to do it.
That's
All right.
incredible.
Well, Kev, you want to take us forward from here?
Yeah, alright. So, when I heard nonchalant, a whole bunch of things ran through my mind, and I didn't really know what was going on. And then I asked someone today, actually, do they have any ideas? And someone told me, pickpocketing. And at first I was like, what do you mean? And then I realized, that's pretty nonchalant.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to be a successful pickpocketer, you got to make it look like nothing ever happened in the first place.
Oh yeah. If you don't keep it nonchalant, you're a bad pickpocket.
Yeah, you're a bad pickpocketer. And so, that's what I'm bringing here today. So if you don't know, which I'm sure everyone knows what pickpocketing is, it's the act of stealing money or just, like, some other possession from a person without them noticing.
Have you guys ever been pickpocketed?
I
don't think
I
so.
have a story I can tell later.
Marichka, what have you been fucking? I want to know.
My-
Yeah, tell the story.
Well, I haven't been, but my dad, when we were in Paris this winter, we got onto the metro, and there was this. There's so much of that going on
Yeah.
in Paris.
I'll get
Just
into
so
that,
much
yeah.
of that. But anyway, so these two men walked on, and they started some kind of commotion, and were like pushing people, and all of a sudden, this lady starts screaming like, "Give me back my wallet! Give me back my wallet! You took it!" And has no fear. She's
So
this
she
tiny,
noticed.
Adorable woman running up to this big looking guy, and she's just like, "Give it back!" And then, well, in French, obviously, but so he opens his bag and goes, "There's nothing in there. Look, there's absolutely nothing here." But what they do is that, there's one person, they're always working in, groups of two. And he takes the wallet and passes it on to the guy behind
secret
him.
handoff.
So he really doesn't have anything, but my dad sees that, that pass, and he looks into his bag and sees a little gold zipper, and he yells to her, "It's in here, it's in here." And that girl runs up and just grabs it out of the bag.
Dude, your dad saved the day.
I know. Nobody else said anything because they were afraid, but the thing is that this is their job, this is their livelihood. If they start any kind of commotion like that, and if cameras see, that there goes their livelihood. So he just, she found it, okay. And they drove like 3 more stops, just not talking to each other, everything was fine. And then she got off at a stop, they got off at a stop.
That's
it was
crazy.
it was very nonchalant the way that they reacted afterwards, but yeah.
That's what you have to
It's
do
crazy.
with
It's like-
pickpocketing, and I'll get more into kind of where it happens. But first, I want to talk about kind of how it's done and different strategies kind of used when it comes to it. So a lot of pickpocketers, whether like solo or working in teams, they apply distractions, like you said, such as like asking questions or bumping into a victim.
Mm-hmm.
But then they also, in certain times, will like be found in any crowded place around the world, and often in like metro stops and places like that, where like you can hop on a train, steal something, and then hop off in the next stop before anyone realizes it's gone. If you do it slightly enough.
I have a buddy who we went to Italy, and he got his phone stolen on the subway. He didn't notice till after he walked off, and he was like, we were made it out of the station, and he was like, "Oh man," he's like,
They're
"They."
so good at it.
I
Yeah.
know.
My sister's boyfriend, when they were in, where were they? They were in Denmark, maybe? He was getting on or off the plane, and he felt something, and he turned around and, like, grabbed someone's hand as they were pulling his wallet out of his pocket. Yeah.
Yeah. Did your parents ever make you like safety pin your pocket shut?
No.
We went to the circus one time, and my dad was like, "Safety pin your pockets, boy." And I was like, "All right."
Another trick they use sometimes is kind of misdirection as well, where they might be like, "Hey, look at that," or ask you to look at something, and when you like look at a map they're holding in their hand, they'll reach behind you and pull out your wallet or something like that. So there's different ways to go about it that way. But actually, Barcelona and Rome are the most like dangerous pickpocketing places in the world, which I thought was interesting.
In Rome. Interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's around where we were. I went there, and I had to wear that little flat, those touristy flat things you put your money and your stuff in, and you strap it around you.
I wore that in Singapore.
Oh, yeah. I totally was rolling on one of those things. I wasn't taking any chances.
One of my cousins got money stolen out of that. He got
Out of that?
$1,200
While he
stolen
was
out of
wearing
that.
it?
While he was wearing
Those
it.
things are
And
under
it
the
was
clothes.
behind. It wasn't just in front. It was
Dang.
behind, and they just like pressed him against something and stole it out.
So, like, they didn't
So
do
he
it
got
discreetly.
mugged.
Did he
What?
know?
So, like,
He
knew
didn't.
what was
He was like,
happening.
no, but he looked, and he had like a bunch of credit cards and stuff, so he wasn't sure, and he was like, no, of course I didn't steal anything, and he looked, and he was like, oh, maybe not, and then they left, and he realized.
Oh,
that they totally did.
he
It was
got played
crazy.
like a fool.
You have to be so fast.
Yeah, you gotta have
No
little
mistakes.
delicate fingers. Sneaky.
Anyway, sorry. Continue, Kevin.
No, you're fine. So as I was saying, a lot of pickpocketers operate in subways and similar transportations as that, and it works really well because they tend to stop and go like really suddenly. So a lot of times you can like fake like you're falling over with the move it thing and like fall over and quickly reach down into a purse or a
You
bag.
sway with the turns and
Mm-hmm.
dip a wallet there, dip a wallet.
And then you run straight out the door, it closes, and before anyone realizes
Boom.
their shit's gone, you're already off on a stop. No one
Yeah.
will
Oh
find you.
yeah.
So most male pickpockets operate in public areas, but interesting enough, most female pickpockets operate in private places. And we'll find out what.
I've had females operate in my private place.
Well, bam.
Hey yo.
So before we get into the history, I kind of want to talk about some interesting pickpocket people. So Bora is a famous stage pickpocket, and he became the highest paid European performer in circuses during the 1950s.
Oh, for what? Pickpocketing?
So yeah, he would take people's things without them realizing it before the show, and either be like, "Hey, whose is this?" Like at the
What?
show, or even take it and then put it back in their
That
pocket
is
so they realize it's gone.
cool.
And then they realize it's gone, and then when the show's over, it's already back in their pocket because they'll pickpocket it and put it back
Whoa.
without them
Dang.
noticing.
Dude, remember those old Burger King commercials where the king was running around and he's like, he's reverse pickpocketing?
that was my favorite.
Yeah,
That
and he
one of the
was
best
sticking
commercials
20s in
ever.
people's pockets.
Yeah, they'd find money in the pocket. Go, hey,
Get the king!
He's running. Oh yeah. How's the battery doing?
That's actually funny you said that, is because he was actually nicknamed the King of Pickpockets.
Whoa!
Yeah, isn't that pretty wild?
That's
Now,
weird.
the King of Pickpockets then encouraged his son Charlie to follow in his cunning trade. And would you care to guess what his name is, guys?
Bora 2.
The Prince of Pickpockets, but you were
Oh.
close.
Very similar.
So there's a few famous fictional pickpockets as well. I'm not saying pickpocketers because that's not an actual word. People who pickpocket are actually just called pickpockets.
Oh,
So that's a fun fact.
don't ever say pickpocketer or
Don't
you're a
call it
fool.
say
They don't
pickpocket.
Pickpocketeer.
Ooh,
You know, I don't know.
I like
Maybe
that.
No,
it's
that
weird,
just
but I
sounds
think
like
it could definitely be a
tongue
thing.
twister.
But it kind of makes it sound like justified, you know, like
It makes
good.
you, it makes it sound like you got kind of
It's
some
not
skill.
scary.
Only because of the musketeers.
Yeah.
Oliver Twist,
So have you guys ever heard of?
pickpocketer.
Yeah, famous fictional pickpocketer.
Oliver
Yeah, the
Twist?
famous fictional pickpocket.
Well, Oliver Twist did pickpocket, I think.
I mean, a little
Oliver
bit.
Twist. Yeah, Charles Dickens' novel, Oliver Twist.
Yeah?
It's a
Yeah.
great book.
I'm just guessing what
It's
everyone
wonderful.
has in their research.
That's a famous fictional pickpocket. Now, have you heard of the Artful Dodger and Fagin?
Yes.
You have heard.
What
of
do you
them.
know about
Well, yeah,
that
because they're
joke?
in the book. It's from the book Oliver Twist.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So what happens is Oliver Twist gets away from this home that is just treats him terribly. This
Horrible.
orphanage
Doesn't
home.
give him more pork.
He gets out of there and gets taken in by this Jew. I think the Jew is Fagin, and he tells him, "You can stay here and I'll feed you, but you have to be a pickpocket for me."
Oh.
And so, what was the other guy's name?
I just had Artful Dodger.
That's it. The
Yeah.
Artful Dodger. He was kind of the young kid that trained.
And they
Oliver.
called him the Artful Dodger?
Yeah.
That's a great name.
I know.
I'd like to be that guy.
And then
Yeah.
I'm not sure
What's up,
if
Artful
Oliver
Dodger?
Twist ever really did much.
Pickpocketing.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think he may have once or twice, but yeah, it's a wonderful book.
Alright. What else?
One last famous person I'd like to talk about is Chicago May. Now, Chicago May was an Irish prostitute who would pickpocket her clients before, after, and even during her sessions with these clients.
Now that takes real skill.
Mm-hmm. She referred to herself, this is totally self-proclaimed name, as the Queen of Crooks.
Oh, so we've got the king, the queen, and the prince.
Mhm.
Got a whole royalty going
Pickpocketers like have a high opinion of themselves.
on. They certainly do.
So now we'll get into a little bit of history with pickpockets.
Oh, I mean pickpockets. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Pickpocketers.
I'm
pickpockets.
sorry.
Pickpocketeers. I didn't want to refer to that as that. So pickpocketing in the 18th century was committed by both men and actually a lot of women. And funny enough, there was actually more women defendants than male. That means more women got caught,
Mm.
which means technically, I mean, they were doing it more. So
Yeah.
I
I
thought
probably
that
didn't
was-
have as many career opportunities. So-
That's true. That's very true. And then most poor pickpockets did so during this time out of economic need.
Yeah.
But in most other cases, they did so like only as an opportunity arose. It wasn't really premeditated at all. It was more like if they saw someone wearing a silver watch or something bulging out of their pockets. A lot of men actually took took handkerchiefs because they were easy to lift and like you wouldn't really notice. I don't really understand the value of a handkerchief.
Just
so
for
They
much.
used
fun?
to be expensive.
Yeah.
Did they?
It's
I mean, they were hand sewn, and
I
Yeah.
think it's
it was a sign of
That's
High class.
one of the things he trains Oliver to try and steal.
those handkerchiefs. Interesting. It's kind of like a mark. It's
they're
kind of like
probably
you're
made
stealing.
of silk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a personalized battle token. You like steal everybody's around town. Like,
But is that? How do you guys feel about that? Everyone carrying a snot rag around them all the time.
I don't mind
I
as
think
long as
that's
you wash
gross.
it every day.
Yeah, but I mean, even like 3 wipes or blows or I mean, just after you don't use it that much, that thing's gonna get nasty pretty quick. So to carry it around all day,
I think it'd be
you have
gross.
to wash it multiple
On a hot
times
day.
a day. Yes.
On a-
Oh, God.
Warm day, sticky pocket. You forget it's in
Moist.
there. If you forget it's in there, you reach in and just.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, so if it's a warm day and you're like using it to dab your sweat, is it then you can't use it to blow your nose because you want to blow your nose and like
Just
wipe
use
your face
the
with
folding
snot?
method. You use it when it's open, you fold it once. You use it when
Or
it's
something like a
folded,
sweat
fold it
hanky
again.
and a
So it never touches
a
the icky
boogie
parts.
hanky.
You use different corners. You establish a
Yeah.
boogie corner.
Boogie corner.
Oh no.
The sweat
Sweat
corner.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So men stole handkerchiefs, and women usually stole watches and bags of money.
Bags of money.
Yeah, I don't know why I think that's so funny, but because they
Because
were
people are
often-
just carrying around bags of money. Like, who
Well-
does that?
Well, it's because they were often prostitutes and they just took it and ran once the person fell asleep, and usually the people were just like drunk dudes and they wouldn't report it or anything because they were like ashamed. And then I read more that in the courts, like the courts would shame them and often like rule in favor of the prostitutes because they were like, these dudes suck. And yeah, so that's that point. And at one point, gangs even had children working for them. And it didn't really explain why, so I just assume, like, you know, they're small hands and short, and they can just, like, go
Oliver
wee, 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 wee,
Twist.
all the way
Yeah.
through.
Little tiny hands.
And
Have
what are you
guys-
going to do to a kid? Like, it's not
Yeah,
like you can hurt
and you
a
catch a
kid.
kid, he's too adorable. They have like gypsies in foreign country too, like gypsy children, and they'll come up to you and beg for money.
Yeah,
Because
there's a lot of Hutzwilke in Ukraine.
is that gypsy children?
They're like, yeah.
Yeah, and they win you over with their
gypsy
cuteness.
family.
Cuteness. Alright. So, last but not least, we'll bring it up with kind of like, I call it prosecution, but just kind of the law side of pickpocketing. So, from the eyes of the law, pickpocketing was considered a capital offense from 1565 on. And this meant it was punishable by hanging.
Damn.
However, for the crime to be considered a capital offense, how much do you think the stolen item had to be worth? Worth more than, I guess. Like, what was the cutoff where
Well, I remember
Became
one
a
where we.
capital offense.
to have a capital offense? Yeah.
I remember one podcast we were talking about laws, and it was like an incredible penalty for stealing just anything. So I would imagine, like, even
What
if it
year
was.
is this?
This is 1565 on, so it's
Same.
kind of in
What
the like
country?
1500
$1.
1600.
Yeah, I would
What
say
dog?
$10. If it's above $10, you're gonna get hanged.
Oh, hanged?
Yeah, this is
Oh,
for
to
the
be
crime to be
hanged?
considered a capital offense, and that means
Which-
it's punishable by hanging.
Okay. I'll say $10. I think
That's
it's
my
$10.
guess.
I think it's a good
Fine, I'm
guess.
switching it. I'm switching mine to 20.
Fine, you're gonna be wrong now.
Man.
You both are wrong by
5.
quite a bit. Connor, 5?
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Is
you're
it
wrong as well.
100?
Marichka, what are you thinking?
15.
Wow, you guys are all wrong. You want to know what it really was? 12 pennies.
12
God.
pennies.
12 pennies is all you had to
Dang.
steal, and then you're dead.
You're hanged.
Surprisingly enough, though, they really didn't hang. Like, I think I read that there was maybe like in like 3 decades, there was maybe like 4 hangings for pickpocketing.
Damn.
Not thievery, but like
Well,
pickpocketing.
I really don't think the punishment fits the crime in that case.
I agree 100%. So this 18th century law also stated that only the thief could be prosecuted. So if you worked with an accomplice, the accomplice couldn't be found guilty of the crime at all. So if two people got indicted together and there wasn't clear proof of who made the final steal, neither could be found guilty.
Oh, that sounds like the way to go.
So like, if you want to be an accomplice to pickpocket, you're all set.
Yeah. I'd be
That's
distraction man for anybody.
Yeah, be the
Yeah.
Oh,
distraction. You get a payout, and worst case scenario, you're a thief gets
You
got.
both just say, you both just insist that the other person
Yeah.
did it.
I swear I didn't take it. I saw him reach in there.
Yep, and then there you go. You'll walk out there, homies. Oh yeah.
Arms around each other like, I hate you, man. 30 seconds before, like, fuck you,
Yeah.
you're accusing me.
Do they see you walk out the gate?
You high five.
Handshake,
Yeah.
fist bump.
You break
Roll
out the
outta
money you
here.
stole and, like, laugh about it and then walk away.
All set.
Oh yeah.
Also, if the victim of a pickpocket was drunk, they would be considered partially responsible. So
Which
it's
is
like,
fair.
if you're drunk and you
take
get pickpocketed, it's just like, well, it's your fault. Should have been more witnessing.
more
That's
no
funny.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I got here for pickpocketing today. Hope I
I
didn't
enjoyed
It
that.
was interesting.
Yeah.
steal too
The
much
king,
of
the
your
queen,
friend's
and the prince.
Hey Connor, you notice you're missing something?
I don't know. What? I don't think so.
I pickpocketed it.
Ooh.
What?
You'll find out eventually when you realize it's gone.
Gosh, what did you take?
You'll never know. I'm the best pickpocketer there is.
Crap.
They call me the king of pickpockets. Anyway, Connor,
Shit.
what have you brought today?
All right. Well, let me settle us back down. Who in the room is fairly familiar with the story of the Big Lebowski?
Mm.
All right.
I'm saying it.
Myself.
See you
We're
myself.
all
I've also seen it.
fans. Good. Everyone knows. Okay, so then they know about the dude and dudism
It's
and
very
how it
nonchalant.
is an official religion.
Dudism.
My mother's fiance is a, what is it?
Dudist?
Well, but you can get some kind of certificate from there.
He is
He
one
got
of
it.
the 450,000 worldwide pastors.
Yep. I thought it was gonna be pastor. I
Wow.
Pastors
So,
of Judaism.
so for
Who
people that haven't seen Big Lebowski, there's this guy. He's just extremely casual. The dude abides. He goes through wild amounts of shit, and he just kind of keeps it casual. He doesn't really, freak out, and he just kind of takes it and rolls with it.
Very
And-
nonchalant. You could
Yeah,
say.
very nonchalant.
Yeah, exactly.
So there is now a religion in his name. You're saying Dudism.
Yeah, the Dudism is, somewhat believed to be from the original form of Chinese Taoism, of just kind of laying back and
Not giving a crap.
exactly just accepting life, and it has kind of fortified itself through Buddhism and Christianity and John Lennonism and just like all kinds of religions and beliefs and stuff. People come together and they're like, man, Dudism can help you just kind of relax and be one with yourself and not stress out about the world.
I like it. I mean, I think it's a great role model.
You know,
After I saw that movie, I was like, that guy went through some shit.
exactly.
He just wanted his rug.
Yeah, and and what's kind of funny I'm reading as well is that most linguists, it says, most followers of the faith, don't use the word dudette for females.
They don't.
Because dude is just commonly referred to both genders.
I like
Wow.
that.
Yeah,
I like that too.
Everyone can just be a dude.
Everyone is a dude. Now we can stop saying y'all.
Well, yeah, dude.
Yeah, everybody around has to say y'all now, and people are like, you gotta say y'all, be gender inclusive.
Just say
Just call them
Dudes.
dudes. What's up, my dudes?
What's up, dudes?
Everyone's just a dude.
But there's only one, the dude.
There is only one the dude.
Well, dudists, aren't really into the whole ritual thing though, because that involves a lot of, focusing energy towards something.
Towards something.
Toward
So they just
anything.
like to,
it's too
relax
chalant.
and for recreation. It says do things like bowling or just driving around listening to music, or it says listening to Creedence, taking acid, just kind of chilling out, being
Hanging
like
out.
a dude.
And your uncle's a pastor? What did you say?
My
Maybe not fully
mother's
practicing
fiance.
in that. Yeah.
Your brother's fiance.
My mother's fiance.
Oh, yeah.
My soon-to-be stepfather.
Oh, Mike?
Yep.
Nice. He's
Yeah.
a dudist. He's
Yep.
a practicer. That's awesome.
Yeah, he loves that movie.
Oh yeah, I love it too.
Yep.
Trenton, you could be a dudist.
You could say I already am.
No, you work too much.
You pulled off that costume.
Yeah, our dude.
Yes,
Wow.
I was the Big Lebowski 2 years ago for Halloween. I
Was
wore
that
the
2
bathroom.
years ago?
Last year.
No,
No, yeah, we came last year.
Yeah, last year.
Well, so I guess
This year you were Jesus.
it would've
Last
just
year
been-
you were the dude.
it would have just been like
Uh,
a year and a few months.
yeah, and then the year before that I was
Two.
Shaggy from so.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah.
As the
You'd make a good
Doodly
Shaggy
Llama
too.
once, the word of the Doodly Llama: life is short and complicated, and no one knows what to do about it.
What to do about it?
So don't do anything about it. Just take it easy, man. Stop worrying so much whether you'll make it into the finals. Kick back with some friends and some oat soda, and whether you roll strikes or gutters, do your best to be true to yourself and others. That is to say, abide.
Abide.
Just abide, man.
I like that.
You know, those considered very undude-like are the nihilists and the Nazis and fascists and angry cab drivers. You know, people that just kind of bring down your mellow.
People that bring down the mellow. That's very undude.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is nihilism that far from dudism though? Just not caring about anything,
Well,
No, but they like make an effort.
not
no,
thinking
they
that
don't.
anything matters. And
Yeah.
The
I mean,
dudes
the
don't
dude.
care.
No,
Yeah,
he
it's
loves
not
No,
that
dude,
they
it's
care.
just kind of
They appreciate.
they appreciate it. They sit back and appreciate it. Nihilists actively
They don't
don't
deny.
appreciate
I don't think nihilists
reality
always-
or
uh,
moral.
well, there are some big holidays in the Dudist faith.
Oh, so they do celebrate holidays.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm surprised they would go to the effort to like set up.
420.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say it's 421.
Well, let's see. March 6th is sort of the start of the
Okay,
Dudist
that's
Lent,
coming
as
up.
they say.
Man, I wonder if you can actually get off work.
Yeah, and that's where they kick back and
Um,
appreciate the simple pleasures of life instead of
that's
chasing around the
really
more complicated and painful ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of their start of Lent. You know, the Day of the Dude is like their Christmas almost. That's March 6th.
Oh yeah.
I like that a lot.
That's
the day
March
of the
6th
dude.
as well.
Day of the dude.
And
We
is
gotta
when-
start celebrating that.
That is
I
when
agree.
their founding text, The Big Lebowski, was released in the theaters, and it is their holy day of obligation.
Mm.
What day is this?
That's March 6th.
Coming up, yeah, like you
Coming
said.
up
I think we need to make our house
Okay.
next year a dudist.
Obviously, you can't forget about June 20th, and that's the summer solstice. That's Shabbos.
Oh.
Shabbos.
Am I the only one around here that cares about the Sabbath?
That's Shabbos, and that's coming up. Joe, you were saying something?
I was about to, wasn't I?
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
don't
I was
roll.
just about to say, I think Marichka makes a good point. I'm actually really curious about this. If you became a practicing dudist,
Mhm.
could you get off work on those days? I mean,
Mm.
could you legally
You
ask
could
to be
argue
let
for
off
it.
work
You could argue
because
for
it's a
it.
part of your religion? I mean,
I think this could be a
I
Supreme
think
Court
legally
case.
they would have to let you.
It
I
would
really
come
do.
down to your boss. I think any boss that if you gave him
Well,
like
but I think if they didn't, I really think you could
You
take
told
him to
them you're
court.
a
I think you could
You
too.
could say he's denying me my religious practices.
if
and
you
that
had
is
some sort
against
of document, I think you could get by.
Mike,
But if you just said
I'll
that,
tell Mike, don't go to work March 6th.
yeah,
And if
Stay
they
home,
complain
show-
about it,
show
tell them
your-
you're a pastor, a practicing dudist. And it
It's a
goes
win-win.
against
You
your
either
religion.
get off work or
So what exactly
You get a
does the
shitload of money from
pastor
suing.
need to do?
Exactly.
Pastor is just someone who can kind of oversee holidays and ceremonies and officially or unofficially preside over weddings. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you get married?
A
over the
dudist
dudist
wedding.
I suppose if you're of the Dudist faith and you welcome that as your pastor, then yeah. I forgot about one. So we have Valentine's Day coming up soon.
yeah.
And incidentally,
shoot.
today is February 12th. Tomorrow would be February 13th, which is Palamine's Day. And it says Valentine's Day can put a lot of pressure on couples and can be a real drag for those who are single. Instead of celebrating romantic love, the dudiest Palamine's Day celebrates pals, friendships, and good buddies.
I like
it
that.
occurs one day before Valentine's Day so that those who are in romantic relationships can celebrate it as well. It's
Yeah.
Palamine's Day.
I like that too.
My favorite holiday.
That's great.
Take a moment to have bros before
Valentine's
hoes.
Day.
Just enjoy your pals.
Hey, that's
Quite
tomorrow.
literally, bro.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
you
Is
got-
it
You
like
guys want to celebrate?
Pal oh my.
Yeah,
Palamine's
pal
Day?
hyphen o, pal
I love
hyphen mine.
Pal
Palamine's
Day.
Day. It's tomorrow. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
That's tomorrow?
Yeah.
Tomorrow's
We can have
Palamine's.
we can watch the movie. We can just have a little celebration and
Palamine.
you
Make
know.
some brownies.
Yeah.
Some famous dudes in history. They believe Lao Tzu, creator of Taoism, as we said, he might have been a dude. He was just kind of a
I believe that
The
means
first
the
dude.
master,
Yeah.
Lao Tzu.
yeah. You know, he scribbled down what we believe is Eastern philosophy, and then just kind of hung out in the pastures.
You should all read the Tao Te Ching if you haven't. It's wonderful.
Dediching.
Yes.
Is
And
that
it's a very short read. There's maybe 100 or so, give or take, 20 chapters, and they're all really just 5-line proverbs.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you can read in like a day.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
but it's
That's-
very.
But they're like really wise words.
Oh yeah.
Wise
The
man.
Tao
I mean,
Te
it is
Ching.
like-
What is it?
The Tao Te Ching. I think to some extent that kind of says it all, and
Interesting.
however way you could sum up, just.
Mm,
Find it online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure you could find a free copy.
I have
online,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Sure.
have. I have one.
All right.
Another famous Taoist that we might know of is Snoopy, Charlie Brown's dog.
I love
Who,
Snoopy. I got a
who-
poster of
who
him in the
has-
treehouse here.
Taoist?
Yeah. Who's no, as a dude.
Okay.
He just lives
He
around.
was noted as saying, "My life has no purpose, no direction, no aim, no meaning, and yet I'm happy. I can't figure it out. What am I doing right?"
Everything, Snoopy.
That's the thing. You just kind of,
I don't know if I'd want
You
to
know,
live that long.
you're happy. You know,
Yeah.
You're content. And I think my favorite part of all of my research I did on dudism and that religion and culture as well is that you can apply to Abide University and Institute.
Online.
Abide University and Institute is an institution for higher learning. We invite students to share and discuss ideas that contribute to peace of mind and enhance quality of living. Abide University is a center for higher learning with a lighthearted approach towards mind and meaning. We offer free undergraduate and advanced degrees and a
Wow.
community of like-minded learners and thinkers. Our philosophy is that if it doesn't help improve quality and enjoyment of life, it's not a part of our philosophy.
Wow.
We welcome everyone to contribute to our knowledge base, share leads, and create a lounge for limber minds. Though not the most esteemed nor accredited university on the earth, we aim to be the most easygoing.
It's free.
It is a tuition-free college.
Where?
Abide
online.
University.
Abide
Online.
University.
It just sounds too good.
AUI.me.
If it was a real university with like buildings and stuff,
Oh,
I'd totally go.
Don't you worry, because you can apply for.
no.
So,
Yeah.
Abide University will give you a free honorary degree today without any study or qualifications. Why? Well, our degrees are in a non-standard field of study. You probably won't find them offered by traditional universities. What they're trying to do is encourage new types of inquiry and investigation to improve quality of life and
Interesting.
general happiness.
So that's an honorary degree. Is there classes you can maybe take or like online videos where they're...
Here we are. You won't get a PhD in economics here, but you can get one in economicals, that is the study of thriftiness. And rather than a degree in leisure studies, you can get one in leisure science, that is the investigation into relaxation.
So if you think get homework or test in the class, you're saying this sucks. I'm not happy.
No, no,
or
no.
like
There's definitely
No.
not homework or tests.
We first provide you the free degree, and then the responsibility is on to you to study and contribute to the knowledge base.
I like that a
The
lot.
journal, the publications and forums.
They give you the rewards so it's more personal and makes you just want it yourself.
And then those who
Yeah.
contribute the most or the best material are elected to the faculty and named as professors. of the university.
Oh man.
Yo, I want to kind of hit this place up, try to be a professor, because you can put it on a resume.
It says,
And if you talk it up well enough, I think you can make a
well, here's the
business
thing. They're
work.
saying the reason they're doing this is because so many celebrities get honorary degrees just for being celebrities.
Yeah.
So that's not to say then that you can't, as you, just some common person, just get an honorary degree in this field of study. Now, once you have this degree, you are expected to live out that degree and contribute the knowledge back to the forums.
Okay.
And,
Now I have an interesting question for you guys.
yes.
Let's say there's just some way where college is a lot cheaper. Like same experience, like you get a good education by really smart people, but it's not crazy expensive. Like it's reasonable. But
So like a few generations ago.
maybe, yeah. But they would say, we're going to give you the degree now, and it's on you to finish it, just like this university does. Do you think you would actually go through and finish it?
Yeah.
I think
don't
I would.
so.
Because to me, it would be like an obligation to the whole institution that I had made, and I would be,
I'd be afraid to go into the workforce with not knowing any of the
But
skills.
see, now people get degrees and they go into work that has absolutely nothing to do with what they studied.
That's true. I mean, if you're going
You
to get a
learn
degree in
at the
like
job.
in a joke thing, but
If
also
you're like a doctor or something.
college is a good time. I wouldn't want to just snag a degree that just
Well,
says
no,
I
it's-
went to
think
college.
It's not to say that this is a replacement for college. This is something that you can
No,
get.
I know, but I'm
Yeah.
saying for real college. I think even if KU would tell me that they would give me my degree now, I think I would probably still finish my classes. Because I'm not ready to graduate. I'm like, I'm in it
Yeah.
for college. But that's interesting. I kind of like the theory of like they're going to give you the end product and the reward at the very beginning. So it's just like it's all up to you. It's your free
No
will.
panic.
Yeah.
So why is it called Abide University?
Well, because you're abiding by the dude.
Yeah. Because in the movie he says
The
the
dude
dude
abides.
abides.
And you can get a doctorate in philosophy or divinity. You can get a master's of science and art, and you can get a bachelor's of science and art.
So I can get an honorary doctorate
Yeah,
in
that's
philosophy.
correct.
Could I technically
Correct.
call myself a
That
doctor?
makes my
Yes,
my
you could be
whole
Kevin.
educational
PhD.
life easier.
Dr. McMorris. Oh, what are you a doctor of? Oh, dudism.
Happy and
I'm a
loving.
master of abiding.
and the studies and the fields in which you can take are in the list: leisure science, comedic science, dudist studies, Lebowski studies, economicals, as I mentioned, thriftiness, geopsychology, simplicity theory, generic studies, memetics, pop culture studies, biasology, limber arts, metaphysics, earthology, abidance counseling, ministry science, rocketology,
Wow.
psychemistry, agricultural theory, and skeptology.
Mm. So what do these entail? You just read like an online document, and then if you read it, you're technically have passed the course? Like, what is each of these courses really?
I mean, I'll show you guys my computer right now. You can click on degree, Master of Science, field, whatever, geopsychology, name, date, add to cart, print.
Oh,
You
so
literally can just get your paper.
you just print degrees for whatever.
Yes.
But is there actually like pages with those headings where you can read up or maybe watch videos
oh, I'm sure, yeah.
to
there's-
actually learn?
Well, that's what it's saying, is there's then like forums and like documents, quote unquote documents of like, like pages of knowledge, and it says journals, articles, like they have one they posted on utilitarianism, and one they posted on skepticism, one on pastafarianism, and
Yes.
One
Go
on
back to
yoga.
episode 1
yeah,
of this
one on
podcast.
yoga, one on Gnostic Christianity. It's just
Oh.
different like belief.
Kind of just like essays.
It is a very like as comedic as it seems. It is a very like knowledgeable and thought out place of discussion.
Yeah, it's a place for like-minded people to come
It is like a
and
treehouse.
delve more into their sort of philosophies on life.
It's like a treehouse. Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, I mean, I wanted to share dudism. I thought that was
Yeah.
kind of a
PhD in
a
dudism.
break off the normal path, kind of a weird one, but that I just found very fascinating. And the dude's just so nonchalant with his life, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, you want to hate on him, that's just your opinion, man. Like, I think the dude is a very
Worthy role model.
a very
Yeah.
role model like character.
I think it's a lot to take into consideration, and I think the dude should be more of like on your shoulder, because necessarily getting caught up living like him at all times, like sometimes it's good to have ambition, and sometimes you need a work ethic, and if you get too caught up and just sort of
Going how you want to
going with the flow, doing what you want, having White Russians.
Just become a parasite on society at that point. You're not contributing.
Well, if he's still, he lives in a house, he's like a functioning member, but I just think like you should have a dude on your shoulder, and then you should have like an Albert Einstein on your shoulder, and then every time you're like, what should I do now? And the dude's like, smoke a joint, and Albert Einstein's like, math.
Just know he'll say relax.
I don't know
and
if
he's
I-
like solve this problem.
Yeah, I don't
But
know
what
if
if
I
you do
misspoke.
both and you smoke the joint, then do your math? Then you satisfy both.
Yeah, I don't know if I misspoke. I think one of the fields of study was agricultural theology, so beliefs in plants and the earth.
All right, I think I would take that one.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, I think that wraps it up in terms of our educational research and storytelling today. And Kevin, can you
Random word.
give us this next word?
The
Drum
random
roll.
word. And so we got, well, very interesting.
Oh,
The next
crown.
week's word is crown.
CROWN.
Yes.
Crown the king.
Excellent.
That's very interesting.
All right.
Well, we'll see you next week for what might just be our crown jewel episode.